Okay, for example, suppose this is 37 degree and this is 5 Newton. A force is being applied on certain body at an angle of 37 degree with positive x-axis, and the magnitude is 5 Newton. Now this force, we have to break the force into x component and y component. Now I'm using it for the first time and we'll be using this term very often. Now this vector, just now we discussed, can be broken into b vector plus c vector. Now b vector is called x component because it is lying along x-axis, and c vector is called y component because it is lying along y-axis. Similarly, if we have been asked to break this 5 Newton of force along x-axis and y-axis, then what we have to do is we have to draw a triangle. So suppose this is a vector and this is b vector. Now from triangular law of addition, we can easily understand that a vector plus b vector will be equal to the given vector. So 5 Newton, the given vector, I'm writing the given vector suppose as g vector. Now g vector is equal to a vector plus b vector from the triangular law of addition. Okay. Now a vector can be found out from trigonometry, and you must be very handy with this, that a vector will be 5 cos 37 degree and b vector will be 5 sin 37 degree, because sin theta is perpendicular upon hypotenuse. In this triangle, this is the perpendicular and this is the hypotenuse. So perpendicular is b, hypotenuse is g. So b is g sin theta, and cos theta is base upon hypotenuse. Base is a and hypotenuse is g. So this a is g into cos theta. Now you don't have to write it all the time. You should be very handy with this, that the base, the angle would be between base and hypotenuse. The third side would be perpendicular, and perpendicular will be hypotenuse times cos sin theta, and base would be hypotenuse times cos theta. This component is cos theta, this component is sin theta. You should spend few minutes in this to bring this to your fingertips. The perpendicular is hypotenuse into sin theta, base is hypotenuse into cos theta. Okay. Now a vector is hypotenuse into cos theta, cos 37 degree. Now that is the magnitude. Vector also has direction, and direction of a vector is along x-axis, so it is I cap. Plus b vector would be 5 sin 37 degree j cap. This is how you will break. Now cos 37 and sin 37 value you should know. Sin 37 degree is 4 by 5 and cos 37 degree, sin 37 degree is 3 by 5 and cos 37 degree is 4 by 5. Now when we put that, we get cos 37 degree is 4 by 5. So this is 4i cap plus 3j cap. So the given vector can be broken along x-axis. So the component, if somebody asks what is the component along x-axis, the component along x-axis is 4. The component along y-axis is 3. So these are the components of this vector along x-axis and y-axis. Okay? Okay, so now I'll give you vectors, and will you please quickly tell me the components? Suppose there's a vector of 8 units and this angle is 60 degree. Now you have to do it quickly. What is the x-axis? You just have to resolve this vector. Resolution means breaking into components. The resolution of vector would be breaking into components here along x-axis and y-axis. So this given vector could be written as a cos 60 degree I cap plus 8 sin 60 degree j cap. You have to be very handy with this. You have to practice. As I am doing, you also have to do. You just don't have to watch, otherwise you will never learn. Now you have to do it very quickly, that this angle with x-axis is 60, then along x-axis the component will be 8 times cos 60 and y would be 8 times sin 60. You have to understand that very quickly. You have to imagine a triangle, and then this side is base, so this, the component of this side actually would be hypotenuse times cos 60. You have to do that so that you will be able to do it fast. You have to do it step by step initially, and then you can do it very fast later on. So this is cos 60 degree is half, so this is 4 I cap. Sin 60 degree is root 3 by 2, so this is 4 root 3 j cap. This is how you resolve into components. Now this time we'll do it orally, okay? This is 10 unit and this is 30 degree. So this I cap plus this j cap. Do it quickly, mentally, you have to do it fast. Along x-axis it would be cos 30 degree, which will be root 3 by 2. So 5 times root 3 I cap plus 5 j cap. Fine. So this is how you resolve the vector into components. Now, since we have learned now that any vector can be resolved along x-axis and y-axis, from now on, this becomes a way of representation of a vector. So if a vector is along this direction, we will not see that this vector is along northeast. So we will always resolve the vector into x-axis and y-axis and represent it in a form of x component and y component using I cap and j cap. So this is how we will be representing vectors from now on. So suppose there is a vector A which is 3 I cap plus 4 j cap, and there's another vector B which is let's say 3 I cap, no, let's make it 4 I cap plus let me make it easy for you and let me make it 5 I cap plus 2 j cap. Okay, a cap plus a vector plus b vector has been given. Now I'm asking you, what is a vector plus b vector? Now a vector plus b vector is simply a vector plus b vector. A vector is 3 I cap plus 4 j cap. B vector is 5 I cap plus 2 j cap. So it's simply a vector plus b vector. Now, as we have learned when we studied the addition of vector, if two vectors are in same direction, they could be simply added. Remember? So this is along positive x-axis, 3 I cap, and this is also along positive x-axis, 5 I cap. It is actually 3 I cap and 5 I cap, like this. So they will be simply added. So that becomes 8 I cap, and 4 j cap and 2 j cap again will be simply added because they are along the same direction. So this is 6 j cap. So this is the required vector. Now if I ask what is the magnitude of a vector plus b vector, the magnitude of a vector plus b vector will be represented like this, mod of a plus b. So magnitude of this vector, calculating the magnitude is simple, because when we studied the addition of vector, we saw how to add these two vectors, a vector plus b vector. The formula for magnitude of resultant vector is a square plus b square plus 2ab cos phi. Now when these two vectors are perpendicular, this term becomes 0 because cos 90 is 0. So it is simply root over a square plus b square. Now similarly here we have two vectors, 8 I cap and 6 j cap. 8 I cap and 6 j cap. They two are perpendicular vectors. I cap is along x-axis, j cap is along y-axis. So similarly, the sum, the magnitude of 8I cap plus 6j cap will be simply root over a square plus b square. 8 square plus 6 square. Now you have to get very handy with this because you will come to this situation at least 1000 times in the course of physics. So you will have something I cap plus something j cap. Now you have to understand that these two vectors are perpendicular vectors. So their magnitude is simply root over a square plus b square. In this case, root over 8 square plus 6 square, which comes out as 100. Root over 100 is 10. So this mod is equal to 10. Simple. And what is the angle that the resultant vector makes with the positive x-axis? So the angle, the formula that we studied is tan phi is equal to b sine theta upon a plus b cos theta. Now I'm asking what is the angle which the resultant vector makes with the x-axis. Now 8I cap is along x-axis. So if I find out what is the angle that the resultant vector makes with 8I cap, then I get the answer what the resultant vector makes with the positive x-axis, which is the same. So in this formula, if you remember, when we derived it, this formula, this phi, is actually the angle which the resultant vector makes with a vector. So if we have to use this formula, then actually what we are doing is we are calculating what the resultant vector, what angle does the resultant vector makes with the vector 8I cap.